Well, we are definitely not in Denver anymore. Welcome to a windy edition of the Broncos pregame show.
That's good.
I'm your host / co-host Todd Davis. Got my boy RK, Zach Stevens, and we're here to talk some Broncos ball. Is this going to be a good day for the Denver Broncos? Are we going to go with the flow, or will we be uprooted by the Las Vegas Raiders? The wind's here. The wind is here for sure.
I think this is the windiest show in history.
As you say that, there's no wind.
I know it. No. If you look behind you, the flags are they're flagging.
No, here we go. Here we go. Now the wind's kicking in. Yeah.
Look, I think the Broncos. I said this yesterday. They're playing with house money today. Like you win, you get a winning season. You lock it in. That's a great kind of like foundation for Sean Payton to talk about for his first season in Denver. If you lose, you're going to have a top 15 pick pretty much guaranteed, or actually guaranteed. So there's kind of pros and cons to both, but I don't know. I like the position the Broncos are in as much as you can for already being out of the playoffs, with one game to go. Yeah,
like we talked about, it's like a win-win for the Broncos. You always want to see them win and beat the Raiders, but at the same time, we understand the draft position. So we're definitely going for a quarterback, and we definitely have to get things moving in the right direction. So it's a win-win today, I think.
I'm just such the villain with this take. Everyone hates me for it. But exactly, you guys are right. It's a win-win. Whatever the dice come up as, it's a win for the Broncos today.
I thought you weren't on that trade.
What?
You weren't on the win-win trade.
You were on the lose-to-win trade, right?
Yeah.
You're on the. You think it's a lose-win?
I'm trying to back off my villain stance.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game. What is the ideal scenario for this game for the Broncos, for you guys?
For me, I think it's that the Broncos play well and Jarrett Stidham does a good enough job to be back as a second-string quarterback next year. Worst-case scenario is that he fumbles the ball, and now we're looking for a starting and a backup quarterback in this offseason, and we already don't have enough capital. So Jarrett Stidham, this is his game. I think a lot of people are playing for their jobs. He's definitely one. Antonio Pierce is going to have his guys ready because he's definitely playing for that head coaching job. This is a big game, I think, on both sides just for job security.
I got to be honest. In terms of the actual game, I don't know if there's like a best-case scenario. It certainly doesn't involve Jarrett Stidham. To me, you don't want him to play so well that the Broncos trick themselves into thinking he's a starting quarterback. You don't want him to play so bad that everyone has a bad time. So for me, I'm like, I don't know. I want Jarrett Stidham to throw for like 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 204 yards.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
You want a 16-15 game.
I don't want that again.
Gross.
16, 17.
No.
I can't have a Matt Flynn scenario on our hands. I can't have a Jarrett Stidham throws for 450 and 4 touchdowns, and Sean Payton's like, I can work with this. Like, I can't have that. So, I don't know. I want to see Javonte Williams play well. It'd be nice to see some of the young receivers, show some stuff. But from a gameplay perspective, I don't know really what I would say is the best case scenario other than this. Because right after this show, I am going to Circa Sportsbook. I'm taking the rest of the money that I took out for this trip, and I am putting it on Adam Troutman anytime touchdown, baby. He needs that touchdown for his incentive. Sean Payton says he gets his guys it's plus 320 right now. We're riding with Adam Troutman. So best case scenario is I don't care what happens except Adam Troutman scores a touchdown.
Let's go. So is that who's going to eat in this game? Circle K, who's going to eat? Are you going Adam Troutman?
Oh, he's going to eat like he's at the buffet.
Oh,
here in Vegas.
At a Vegas buffet.
Yes, sir.
For me, I think that it's going to be Jaleel. I think it's his. He's been having kind of like semi-coming out parties to where he's kind of leading the team in rushing yards and really making his presence felt. Definitely leads the team in, yards per attempt. So I think this is a good game to kind of like get the ball rolling on kind of what we'll be able to see next year.
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely going to be the guy that eats today.
And we saw him eat last week. Sean Payton really featured Jaleel all over the place. And I'm going to go the opposite side of the ball. What do you know about inside linebacker play, Todd?
That's been phenomenal all game. I mean, all year, really. I mean, you got guys, what is Alex, fourth in the league in tackles?
Yep.
Josie Jewell's been having a phenomenal season. I think he was definitely one of the Pro Bowl snubs this year. So those boys have been playing with their hair on fire.
Especially Alex. That's who I think is going to eat today. He is 10 tackles away from setting the NFL record for double-digit tackle games in a season.
Wow.
He'll hit 13 if he does that today, and 8 tackles gets him to the franchise record for tackles in a season.
Wow.
So he's 10 tackles, and he hits both of those easy. He's going to be eating.
Yeah,
he's going to be eating. And no Josh Jacobs today for the Raiders, so he's going to be eating a lot of backups.
This will be a little harder for our viewers, but Todd, I have to show you this.
All right, let's see it.
Let me know how you would feel if you were playing in a Week 18 game that there was nothing on the line and you walked onto the field and it looked like this, which is the way.
What is that?
That is the end zone of the Raiders Stadium right now.
Wow, that's like when they used to play on the half baseball, half football field.
Yes.
I don't even understand what's happening to the field.
It literally looks like all of the little like fake grass, it's obviously turf, has like rubbed off.
Uh-huh.
Yikes.
Dang. Yeah, I really wouldn't be playing hard today. Not at all. I'm not injuring myself right before we go on vacation.
I'll send this to Yaya, maybe he can bring it up, but
That
like
is not it.
it is unbelievable how poor the condition of this field is for a new stadium, relatively.
Yep.
That's indoors. It's not like it rained a bunch on the field or something and there's nothing they can do about it. That is embarrassing, but on par for that organization.
It's the Raiders. I mean, I think you expect it. If you came there and the grass was looking nice, you'd be like, what's going on? Like, who is this team? But it's definitely always a weird week when you know you're not playing for much. Hate to say it, but I definitely know that I wasn't as focused knowing that we weren't going to the playoffs. I think one of the years where we weren't, I got a tattoo, like a thigh tat, like 2 days before the game. Like, definitely shouldn't be doing this. I think it definitely affected how I played. Was not as agile as I wanted to be. Thigh was on fire. But it's definitely a different time.
At all?
No, luckily I didn't. I did it. It was all. I even had to wrap it up before the game.
Oh my God!
Yeah, crazy times. Crazy times.
That is incredible. You know who else is going to eat?
Me?
I think all of us.
Damn, that was the spot on. I was going to say me at Snarf Sandwiches. Tomorrow when we get back in Denver, that's going to be my go. I love Snarfs. That spicy.
Jardinera.
Yes.
Say it again.
Jardinera.
I like
Spell
that.
it.
Jardinera. That is Giardinera.
Can I have the origin, please?
Italy.
So good. Sometimes a little too spicy. I sweat a little too much, but it is so good. So you got to check out our friends over at Snarfs. Really across the country, but definitely they have so many locations in Denver. Check out Snarfs. Love Snarfs.
And check out our friends over at Breckenridge Brew. I think this has been an amazing trip. Shout out to Circa for having us. Definitely had a lot of Breck Brew. Definitely had a lot of drinks, period. But ultimately, can't go wrong with the Breck Brew, their official beer of DNVR. You can go to breckbrew.com for their beer locator. You can check them out and see where they are. And I've had the Strawberry Sky while I was here. I've had the Fun Slinger while I was here. I really haven't missed on Breck Brew this weekend. Go check out our friends at Breck Brew. You won't be disappointed.
Quick new segment presented by Circa Sportsbook. It's called What Time Did You Go to Bed Last Night? Zach, you go first.
After 4. I don't know anything else. And I know Todd was up then.
Yes.
Were you starting your morning? Were you in the gym then? Is that when you responded?
No, I was ending my night closer to 4, but my family is here, and what I just heard is my cousins just left the casino. Like, literally, they leave the casino to come here, like no sleep, rocking and rolling.
That's so legendary.
Vegas is it, baby.
I think I got head to pillow before 4 a.m.
Wow, responsible.
Yeah. I think it was like 3:59, head down, because I woke up And Zach, because we had talked, like, we was like, is Todd going to be here? And then Zach texted me at 4:20. He's like, yeah, Todd's in. So I'm like, damn, Zach texted Todd at 4 a.m. and got a response.
And then I woke up and was like, what is our plan? I had to call you, Ryan.
You misread a text.
Very much misread a text. So then I'm messing everyone up. But we're here.
We're here.
We're here. We made it.
Zach learned craps last night.
How'd you like it?
Last night I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, the night before, not so much.
You
the night
didn't really
before,
have
I was like,
time to learn
this
it.
game's so stupid. And then last night it was fun.
Last night we had a lot of fun. A lot of fun playing craps. Less fun playing blackjack, but still fun.
Yep. Yeah. Now, like you said, Ryan, take all that money, Adam Troutman. That's what I'm going with. Because he's the only guy that we know that has an incentive out there. Todd, $100,000 on the line for him?
Yep.
So, yeah.
$100,000 if he gets a touchdown.
That's a new thigh tat.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's a couple. And, like, if you have those incentives, that's when you go to Jarrett Stidham all week, like, bro, just find me. Just give me one. Like, I'll split it with you. Just make sure you find me in the end zone today. So hopefully he gets it, man. I think it's always dope when guys have incentives to play for and they hit them. I hate it when guys, you know, they have incentives, whether it's like they need 5 more catches, they get 4, and the team is like, hey, you got to sit down.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that. So I definitely hope he gets it today.
Yeah, and Sean Payton says he looks out for his guys. I would be willing to bet he has 4 plays that he has designed for Adam Troutman to get a touchdown, depending on where they are. 1 from the 15, 1 from the 10, 1 from the 5, 1 from the goal line. Just ready to say, like, all right, I'm getting this guy his tud, and I think you might get something creative. Now, you don't want to get, Scangarello on us and go end around to Troutman, but I think you could see something like, shovel pass from inside the 5, something like that. Hank mentioned, going for QB, the old motion him in under center, sneak it in. Whatever it is, I think they're going to find a way. And that's probably the number one thing Sean Payton is like. Obviously, he wants to win all that stuff. He wants to put a game plan together, but I think he'll feel good going away from this game if he can get that far.
You think he's just waking up in the middle of the night like, oh, I got to get Troutman the ball?
Yes.
This is Troutman's game. We got to get him right.
Or is he coming home from the casino at 4 a.m. and he's like, okay, designed it.
Sean has that in him.
Coaches definitely have a lot more free time on away trips. So, per some stories, they have a good time. I wouldn't have been surprised if I walked by Sean last night.
I was going to say, I would be 0% surprised if someone posted a picture, like, ran into Sean Payton last night. It's like just him at a table.
How much will Courtland Sutton benefit Jarrett Stidham? Because he did not have him last week.
I think he's a big outlet. Was definitely the number 1 receiver on the team this year, and to be honest, I think he was, and sometimes Russ's saving grace. Not every ball was perfect that Russ was throwing, but Courtland was finding a way to make big plays, and I think that if he's able to do that today for Jarrett Stidham, it'll be a huge reflection in his performance, also his yards, even maybe a touchdown pass. So I think you always feel good knowing that you can just throw it up a couple times a game, and you hope Courtland will come down with one.
Is that how you approached last night? You're like, I can just throw it up at the end of the night, so let's put him down right now.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I wasn't far from that. I think it's going to be transformational for Jarrett Stidham. I think it's that big of a deal. We saw with Russell Wilson what this offense looked like once you brought Courtland Sutton off the field. I think it was at the Lions game where it was just like he was out and it was over for them on offense. Just having him as a presence down there, having him, I think Sean Payton's going to want to get Courtland working the slant early and often. And it'll just make everything easier for Jarrett Stidham and make everything more difficult for the defense, which will really help this offense.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's, like Todd said, especially when it comes to touchdowns, he's their only guy that scores touchdowns from receiving end. So this is the fact that Jarrett Stidham had the exact same game as Russ statistically last week without Courtland, without Marvin. I think it's going to help, especially against the Chargers were really bad. I mean, they're a really bad defense, and then the Raiders, not a very good defense. You just have to do everything you can to stop Maxx Crosby, because that's a guy that's not going to take Week 18 off. He's going to go so hard. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has like an incentive in his contract to get a couple of sacks, and he is always praised for the amount of effort he brings.
Yeah, he's definitely a hard player. I think this is going to be a fun game all the way around. Like I said, everybody's playing for their job. I saw a tweet today, and I didn't know if it was true or not, and it said that George Payton was considered safe as the Broncos GM. How do you guys – I want to get you guys' take on that. And is it true? Do you feel like it's true, and do you feel like it's the right decision?
The feeling I'm getting is there's not going to be changes tomorrow.
Okay.
Now, maybe that could happen after the draft. I wouldn't be surprised, but that's the vibe I'm getting right now is tomorrow I don't think we're going to see any big changes. But I personally wouldn't be surprised if something happens after the draft.
Yeah, I think it was Ian Rappaport and big-time Tom Pelissero who said that both said that he was safe. But I think you're onto something there, Zach. He's safe for now. And there's a lot of reporting out there about those, Sean Payton and George Payton having a good relationship.
Was that an intentional clearing of the throat, or
intentional because I had something in my throat?
Oh, okay.
Good relationship like him and Russ have, or
yeah, exactly. I think it sounds like they've worked well together, but who said it? Was it Adam Schefter who said this is Sean Payton's organization? He runs it how he wants, or something like that, which was a wild sentence to read.
Yeah.
But I think that eventually Sean Payton is going to have his guy in the GM chair, and maybe it is just like Sean respects him as a draft, type of guy, and he's like, well, we'll keep him around for the draft, and then we'll start fresh.
I think it is interesting because although he, has some bad, I guess, contracts or decisions in certain areas, he's also really done well in the draft with Marvin Mims and Jaleel and some of these young guys. He's brought in good talent, so it's kind of like you got to kind of figure out how you're going to weigh both of those things, because I feel like he is good in the draft, but maybe Sean can help in the negotiation process a little bit more so that we're not in this predicament, a year or two from now.
And George kind of built this situation as well. Sean might want to be like, we're not paying you to leave this. You got to help us build out of this. And the Broncos are going to have to get really, really creative with what they do cap-wise, and then also the certain players that they bring in. And George is known as a phenomenal scout and talent evaluator. Just maybe he hasn't, as the general manager, done a good job of putting things together, but that's Sean's job now. He gets to make those final decisions. So if you have like an excellent assistant general manager, which George is viewed as at the very least, then Sean's the one making all the decisions anyway. So I don't view it as a negative if they keep George around, especially for the next 4 months until the draft.
Yeah, there's a lot of intense takes out there about this, and a lot of people think that George Payton deserves to be fired, but mostly for the Russell Wilson trade. And it's really hard to evaluate the rest of George Payton's body of work if you take that out, because it affected everything. It took away his ability to use first-round picks on anyone after Pat Surtain, which obviously was a good draft pick. And so now you're like, well, are you evaluating Nick Bonito as like he was the first pick of that class? But when you look at the area that he was drafted at this point, it's kind of looking good for Nick Bonito as a pick. I'm lost on George Payton in terms of if you're gonna essentially excuse the Russell Wilson trade, which I don't think you can do. But if you move on from that and say, okay, well, that's in our rearview mirror, we like the rest of the body of work, I don't know what that necessarily is or how to evaluate it, because everything's been kind of undone by that Russell Wilson trade.
It's so funny how, I feel like everything within the organization is so, up in the air. Like, we're unsure about quarterback. We're unsure about, the job that he's doing as a GM. It kind of puts you in this weird space to where you're kind of just sitting and waiting and trying to figure out what they're going to do next, but we really don't know what the Broncos are going to do next, because a lot is up in the air.
So I have a question. Speaking of up in the air, the first time I'm asking you guys this, I'm probably going to retake this many times in the next 4 months. Where are the Broncos picking? What number is their first pick this year?
Oh, you're saying like after trades or whatever.
If they trade, yeah, it's up to you.
I'm going to say the Broncos pick at 3.
Wow. That's high.
Yes.
That means we had to give up a lot to get there.
It means my Tom Brady take from yesterday doesn't come true. But I don't know. I think that's going to be the first pick that's kind of available to a team like the Broncos. It'll be really, really hard to trade up, even if they go to what? How high can they get today, Zach?
11.
Yeah, so
10
even
maybe, but likely 11.
going from 11 to 1, it's pretty difficult. Although I think that's been done somewhat recently or close to it. Even going to 2 is kind of hard there. Going to 3 from there is possible, and something that if you are aggressively pursuing Jaden Daniels or whoever else, maybe it's Drake May who Sean Payton loves, then I think you can get him from that position. You also are probably taking the 3rd quarterback in the draft with the 3rd pick in the draft, which you don't love. But I think they do make a move is what I'm getting at here. They do try to get up and get somebody.
I think that will be sitting right around 9. I think that will make a move to get up, but I think there's going to be opportunity to get a quarterback, not later in the first round, but right around pick 9. And I just don't know if we have enough to give away and keep giving away. I feel like we're like the Giving Tree, or we're a charity right now out there for people looking for capital or picks. So I think 9 is probably where I feel like we'll end up landing.
Are the Bears going to stick with Justin Fields?
It certainly feels possible.
If they do, the Broncos will have the #1 overall pick in this draft.
Wow.
And Caleb Williams will be a Denver Bronco, and it's going to cost a boatload.
Yep.
So much. If they decide to do the right thing, I think, and move on from Justin Fields and take Caleb Williams, I think the Broncos are at 3, because I think there's going to be 3 quarterbacks selected with the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd overall pick in this draft. And Sean Payton's had his time to do it with Russ, and he's decided not to. Now he's going to get his guy.
Yep.
And his guy isn't going to be waiting there at 11 or 14, which they're at now, or 18 if they win today and things go the wrong way for them. No, he's going to go up and get his guy. So I think the Broncos are going to be super aggressive. And we're going to look back at today's team in September, and it's going to be a whole different team. I think Sean brought in like 33 new guys this past year. It's going to be even more than that this coming year, because...
But when Coach Prime does it, it's a problem.
He's hitting that transfer portal, man.
Yeah, exactly. And the big reason why is the Broncos are just going to have to make moves because they're moving on from Russ. So they're going to be restructuring, cutting a lot of guys, bringing a lot of kind of lower-level guys in to try to fit those roles that they have to fill this year.
I feel like this is a really, really big time for us, because with all the capital we deployed, with all the picks that we gave away, like, first-round draft picks are always 50-50. It's always up in the air. But we cannot miss. Like, whoever we pick, whether it's 3, 1, 9, he has to be the guy. Like, there can't be any 4 or 5 years down the road, we can't get to the 5th-year option and not know where we're going. Like, he has to be a big name in the NFL from the moment he steps on the field and has to take over and be the guy. We can't miss again.
It's actually like a scary thing that you're talking about. The Broncos already set their franchise back, 4 or 5 years with the Russell Wilson deal. The kind of get-out-of-jail-free card from any organizational problems you've had is to hit on a first-round quarterback or a quarterback in the draft. Look at the Texans. I mean, they were considered a joke of an organization. People were telling DeMeco Ryans, don't take the job. You know, it was a mess. Well, DeMeco takes it. They hit on a quarterback. Now he's going to win Coach of the Year. You got Rookie of the Year. You're going to the playoffs. They're like, we were talking last night, like plus 6,000 for the Texans to win the Super Bowl. It's not crazy. So it is your erase all of your sins card is to hit in the draft. They got to do it, because if they don't, and they do make the move that Zach's talking about, multiple first-round picks again to chase after a quarterback that doesn't work out, I mean, we're in for a very unfun time.
We are. And you know what's going to make today fun? You guys think a win, right? Would make today fun?
Yeah.
And just a little behind the scenes, Todd said before the show, if the Broncos win, he's jumping in that pool on the post game. Right? You promise that?
Yeah.
There we go. Easy.
No problem. I already actually got some of the pool on the back of my neck during this show, just from a breath of wind.
That wasn't pool. That wasn't pool water, Ryan.
Oh wow. Somebody's above us having a good time.
Are you gonna bring up that shit you brought up?
Have you seen Saltburn, Todd?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Have you heard about it?
Don't bring that up here.
I've definitely heard about it.
Yeah, see, at least, Todd, I missed you yesterday. I tried to bring it, the idea of it up, and these guys hadn't heard of it. And I just looked like an idiot.
Well, I heard about it later.
Do we end on that note? Don't get Saltburned on the way out.
Troutman, baby. Troutman. Come on, Adam.
Plus 320. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Adam Troutman for life.
Yep.
Or today. Just
or
today.
never again after this.
Man, this is a blast. Todd, you need a new drink. So that means we got to wrap.
I mean, it's 11 o'clock, but it feels like 5 o'clock. So let's just keep drinking. Keep it
AM
going.
or PM?
PM, 5 p.m.
PM. Okay, yep.
Because 5 o'clock somewhere, that's the saying, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So somewhere, I don't know where in the world right now it's 5 o'clock, but we're gonna make it 5 o'clock here and let's have a good time.
Let's go.
In Vegas, it's always 5, right?
Yep. Can't go wrong.
I love it. I
Great
love it.
line. Hell yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us on
go,
another
baby.
great pregame show. We'll be watching. I think the Broncos are going to get a win. I'm hopeful. I don't know if we did picks this week, so I think everybody's kind of off the hook.
What's your pick?
Shoot.
I
think
said
I'm nervous.
17-16 Broncos.
Okay.
I'm going 21-20 Raiders.
Dang. Okay, so you went Raiders, so if I go Raiders, it's not like a bad take. Yeah. I'm actually going 24-18 Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been having a little bit of fire this past couple games, and I don't know if we can match.
Yeah. And let's hope the Raiders just F this up, because I think Antonio Pierce is actually a good coach. Let's hope they F it up. They do something weird and don't bring him back, and bring back the next Josh McDaniels or John Gruden or something and just blow everything up.
And I don't think that's asking too much. The Raiders are probably going to F it up.
Yep.
So cheers to the Raiders F'ing it up. We'll see you on the post-game show. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.